Should we be worrying so much about that? Well, it hasn't happened, but right now, oil prices are actually still high. We can still take advantage. This morning, Brent is still trading above $114 per barrel.
One of the things that helped most of these other countries in the Olympic was that they have been planning for a very long time. Okay.
So now we are going to talk about Nigeria's this one performance. Well, that's the Olympics.
It's all around. If you have to have this ability to foresee, you need the foresight. Okay, so without foresight, I'm afraid
policies are being decisions are being taken, policies are being formulated to forestall that perhaps in the future. But for now,
for now, what we saw in the early quarter of this year was there was a slack in demand. Okay, and if you look at our GDP in the first quarter of this month, it was powered majorly by the non-oil sector. Okay, the returns from the oil was negative. It was not even low. It was in a negative region. If you look at that, it was in a negative region. Okay. It was well above the zero level. In the first quarter, we were losing about 2.5% in growth rate. That's when you compare the oil real GDP. Okay, now our currency is closely tied to this commodity. Okay, if this commodity is going down, we have no choice than for our currency also to follow in the same suit, because when there's a low demand in our commodity, nobody will be able to pay us for it.
Okay, so interesting.
So what this does to our economy is that you see the dollar, that is whatever currency that is paired to the naira, begin to appreciate against naira. So the central bank can come in just to put in some intervention in the market to support the naira, to ensure that it does not go beyond what is expected. But on the overall, on the long run, the force of demand and supply will still come to play.
Okay, Bade, hold your thoughts for us. We need to take a break at this point. We'll come back to look at the naira performance, not just against the dollar, perhaps against other major currencies, particularly the British pound and the euro. I've been talking to Bade Ajidan, a currency analyst, and we have been looking at the naira's performance in the first half of the year. We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. We're still talking currencies. Badia Jidan still here, looking at the performance of the Naira in the first half of the year. But we'll just be looking at the Naira's performance against the dollar, the British pound, and also the euro. Now, we do know that the Naira has it's had a rough time against the US dollar, obviously. We've seen it weaken as low as 164 sometime about 2 months, or less than 2 months ago. But it's now down to 158 Naira, which some traders will say is not too bad, since at the official window the CBN offers it at 155.80 or between that range. Now, against the British pound, we know that for a long time we've had the Naira trading at around usually at around 250 Naira to the pound, but it looks like it's actually been trading below 250 and it's sustained it at below 250 to a pound.
Yeah, it's to the pound, even to the euro. I think the euro is trading less than 200 thereabout,
around 199, yes.
Around 199. Now, it's function. Well, all this still lies to what the federal government has been doing, okay, to help the Naira. Okay, and if we look at the trace, because I'm still going to come back to my sector as a currency analyst. If there is a need for maybe speculative trading on the Naira like we do on most of this other currency, I'm telling you categorically that our sentiment will be to the downside. But we cannot ignore what the CBN is doing with the Ministry of Finance. So what we have seen is that, for instance, talking about our yields, okay, you see that it has been performing. So what you are now seeing is that we are seeing a flow of foreign investment into Nigeria.
Is that they're talking about the treasury bills?
The TBs, okay, the bonds, yeah. Okay. We are seeing a flow of foreign investment into Nigeria. Okay, that is a sign of strength. Okay, and obviously looking at the voice of demand and supply, they will naturally gravitate to the Naira, and the Naira will begin to appreciate above most of these other currencies. So we can say that maybe in the past 1 or 2 weeks that Naira has been appreciating quite above all the majors.
And on the other hand, the CBN has been able to prevent capital flight, keeping the local investors, especially at the bonds
and increasing the amount of reserve that they have to have with the CBN. So these are good, these are measures. If we can continue having this, but it's you can't continue.
Obviously, I know where you stand on that. You believe that it's short term.
You can't continue intervening in the country like that,
But we have said, okay, we'll come to what other central bank governors have been doing in terms of...
Yes, they've been doing, but I'm saying for the Naira, for instance, okay, we need, the effect of this is short-lived. We've seen this happen in the past.
Okay, that we have established. Let's talk about what the Naira is, your outlook for the rest of the year, for the next half of the year. 158 is where we are right now for the Naira. We don't know how long it will stay there. It will probably hover between that and perhaps 160. But according to traders at the market, they say they don't believe the Naira will weaken like we saw before to 164. They believe that the fact that so much money has been sucked out of the system by that CRR hike that we saw, they don't expect that to weaken as low. And because they say, yes, there will be a few marketers coming to the petroleum and the marketers coming to the market to place more demand for the dollar, but they don't see it weakening to 164. What are your thoughts? What are your own likely scenario for you?
Because when we look at this fundamentally, we look at the fact that foreign investment is beginning to enter into Nigeria. That's from the financial market, the treasury bills, the yields. Okay, and we're also looking at the major projects that is going on. We're talking about privatization of PHCN and a lot of things trying to happen in the economy now. This is going to attract foreign investors, okay, and it's no news that foreign investment are beginning to gravitate towards Nigeria because it's part of the emerging countries in the world, and we are forecasting a large growth in 2013. Aside from what is happening in the food sector, we might likely see the Naira still gaining a little more strength towards the end of the year.